Hello, everyone. Good morning and good evening. Welcome back. Welcome to Cloud and DevOps Batch 57. Before I start anything, I would like to thank each and everyone who has taken their time to spend something interesting over the weekend. That is something highly appreciated. And I'm gonna make sure the next 90 minutes is going to be very interesting and exciting. And I bet that it makes sure that you learn something out of the training. And without wasting any time, I would like to proceed further and welcome to the Cloud and DevOps training. It's not just a cloud training or a DevOps training, it's a DevOps with AWS real-time training. And my name is Manoj Verma. I'm a working professional with 12 years of experience. And the batch timings are going to be Monday to Saturday, morning 6 to 7:30 India time. If you're joining from India, if you're joining from States, session timings are going to be Sunday to Friday, 7:30 to 9 o'clock. And there won't be any changes in the schedule. And the meeting link remains the same till further schedule, further notice. Okay. And before proceeding further, I don't waste much time in discussing anything apart from today's agenda. And before we kickstart the agenda, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Manoj Verma. I'm a working professional with 11 years of experience, almost close to 12 years of experience, and working for one of the enterprise company in Bangalore. I total have 9+ years of experience as a part-time trainer. I'm already a full-time employee. Training is my part-time. I'm doing this training out of my passion. From last 9 years, I'm into this training in different technologies. But from last 8 years, since the time AWS and automation comes up, since then I'm into this training. From 2016, I started offering trainings with my experience and expertise. I started my career in 2011. I started training from 2016 and exclusively on the DevOps and cloud technologies. This is my 57th batch, and that also means I have delivered 56 batches till date. And the only reason why we are able to come till here is just because of you guys. And majority of the participants are from the previous batch referrals, and few of them are from majority of the people I know in person. And it's all because of you. And I can very happily say that this is our 57th batch. We almost delivered 1200 plus professionals and job seekers. We trained people who don't have a job, and we also trained people who are in job in different technologies. And my training has helped them in making a career transition to cloud and DevOps technologies. And this training is completely designed on the top of real-time project, and that's the speciality of the training. And as a person, I total have 11 years of IT experience and trained more than 1200 plus professionals. And I'm working as a lead engineer. So I'm working for a consulting firm. So my designation is associate consultant, associate architect. And that's a quick introduction about myself. And my experience and expertise is mostly around the enterprise grade organization. Since my experience is mostly around the enterprise organizations, my training standard is also keeping the enterprise and the real-time market needs in mind. I designed the entire course. And it's not just an online training. I want to consider this DevOps with AWS as an online interactive training. And this training is not just me saying and you're listening. No, it's a training. It goes by interaction. Since it is a demo session, I didn't give you the option to talk just because this is something I want to talk first, and then I would like to give you an opportunity to talk. And also to ensure that the parallel conversation, if I give access to everyone at a shot, the quality of the conversation would be reduced. So that's the reason, since it is a demo, I would like to take the opportunity to introduce myself and demonstrate the content and the strategy that we are going to take as a part of the training. And then we're gonna take all the questions. And every one of you also have a chat window. If during the training, if you're having any questions, concerns, queries, feel free to post your query. And also, if you would like to break me and if you would like to talk, you also have an option called as hand raise option. The moment you click the hand raise option, I'll get an opportunity to go and give you an option to talk. Okay, so that's the etiquette that we are following. I request you to just hold for today on asking the question. I'll make sure all of your questions are going to be addressed. And as I mentioned, session timings are going to be Monday to Saturday, morning 6 to 7:30 if you're joining from India. And if you're joining from States, it's going to be Sunday to Friday, 7:30 to 9 p.m. Eastern. All the timings if you that you see in the US are Eastern timing. If you are from the Central or Pacific, try to do the +or -1 conversion accordingly. So, and again, I'm gonna make sure that the introduction session or the demo session is going to be very simple and crisp, along with it should give an idea what you're learning, why you're learning, is it really worth or not. Okay. And Since this training is DevOps with AWS, I want to talk about what is DevOps, why now DevOps, and what exactly is DevOps, and how works culture was before DevOps, and why this DevOps evolution comes up into picture, and what are the tools that you are going to learn as a part of this DevOps, and how infrastructure operations were happening before cloud, and even before cloud, what is cloud, and how business was operating before cloud is something that I'm going to tell you in a very crisp approach. And then how cloud business operates. Okay. You also need to understand how business operates rather than just technology. Technology you get everywhere in the internet, but how business model works is very much important, because when you're talking to someone, when you're presenting to someone, or when you're listening to someone, they talk in the business model. When you're going to the senior profiles, I'll also teach you what is a cloud business model and how many models are there, which business model we are going to adopt, and which business model are we supposed to pick based on the budgets that we have. And in this training, what is our approach? We are having hundreds of online free tutorials, hundreds of trainings in the market. What is our approach and what is the unique strategy that we follow that made us to achieve the 56 batches delivery and that make us to give an opportunity to train the 57th batch? What is our approach? How we are completely different from the market? And how it's going to help you in your career transition is also I'm going to talk in a very clear approach. And at the same time, I'm also going to show you the job descriptions that are there in the industry and how close are we to the market needs. Are we covering the market needs? It's also I'm going to show you along with the job descriptions. Okay, that's it. I'm not going to keep anything extra apart from that. When you talk about cloud, DevOps, whatever it may be, it all starts with software development lifecycle. What is a software development lifecycle? Why we need it? We'll talk about that. And even before that, why are we doing all this? Why are we learning cloud? Why we need a cloud? Why we need a server? Why we need an operating system? Why are we doing all this? First of all, we should have an answer, right? We should have an answer. Okay. And the reason for it is it's all to run the applications. Okay. It's all to run the application. So what is an application? For example, you want to buy something. You want to buy something in India, Amazon. Okay, let me go. I want to buy something. And for example, I'm a big fan of iPhone. I would like to buy an iPhone. So what I do, I go here and I'll try to search for iPhone. Okay. And it's asking me, it is giving me suggestions. Hey, boss, in iPhone, there are a lot of variants. Which one do you want? I want iPhone 15. Again, in the iPhone 15 is there, iPhone 15 Plus is there, a lot of options are there. I'm just clicked in iPhone. Now it's going to show me the list of all the options. Now, it's also going to give me an option. What is the memory requirement? What is the screen size? Even though there are no much variants, but still you get an option. And the moment you click on this, it gives you options. Hey, it costs you 70,999 if you are going with 128 GB variant. But if you want to go with some higher variants like 256 GB or 1 TB, it's going to cost you a little extra. And then if you like the product, you'll add the item to the cart. And once you add the item to the cart, it's going to show you what is the price of it. And all these things it's going to show you. And it's also show you whether are there any shipping charges or not, and when the item is going to be shipped, and all these details it's going to show you. And it's also sell you some third party customer like Bajaj Insurance is selling you insurance for this mobile. That means if you lose the mobile, you can get insurance from this company. That means this is a Flipkart, but still here you can buy the insurance from a third party provider. You see how things are operating. Okay, Flipkart one company, Bajaj another company. You can buy the insurance of Bajaj insurance from Flipkart for the iPhone, which is sold by the Apple company, right? Now I'm interested about it. Now I would like to place an order. Now you need to enter the login details where you want to ship, order summary, and then payment option. That's it. By February 21st, you will get the mobile. Whatever you see here is something, an application which is executed somewhere, which is showing you the information. Okay, this is the actual business that we are interested about, and these are the applications that are running on the top of servers, and these are the type of applications that are being developed by the developers, and these are the applications that are going to be installed or deployed on the top of servers. That means to run these kind of applications, we need to have some process. And to develop these applications, we need to have the process. And that's where all of it starts with. For example, I'm going to start a board. And these applications needs to be running on the top of some server. Server is nothing but a big computer. Okay. I'm using MacBook. MacBook is my computer that is designed to run only, that is designed to access only by me, one user at a time, right? But server is also a computer which is designed to run applications which can be used by thousands and lakhs of users. Let's assume it's a server. Server is nothing but a big computer. Okay, so it's a server. Again, in the server, there are a lot of brands like HP, Dell, Sony. A lot of people, lot of companies offer the servers. Now, on the top of the server, we are going to run the applications, which will be developed by the developers, like Java developer or C developer or Python developer. They use the technology to develop these applications. Who? Developers. Now, when you're searching for something, it is showing you the information, right? Today, 72,999, but tomorrow it can be 73,999, or yesterday the price could be 60,999. That means this application, everyday developers are not going to change, but the application value, the item value would keep on changing, right? That means this information would be fetched from somewhere. Agree? That means you also need to have another server to store the details which is going to be fetched by the server, right? So this is the database server. Let's assume this is the database. Again, in the database, there are a lot of variants. I don't want to talk anything apart from that. Database is something which we use to organize the things in an approach that can be delivered in a simplest, that can be retrieved in a simple approach, right? Now, since this application is something that is generating millions of dollars for Flipkart.com, and the data that is organized by it is very much important. That also means these are not something that needs to be exposed directly in the internet. This should be secured in a very private place. Not me or you, anyone in the internet can directly go and access this. No one should have access. So they need to be enclosed in a private place where no one has access apart from the Flipkart required entities or the Flipkart supported entities. Apart from that, no one should be having access to this. And this is enclosed in a private place, and the private place is called as a data center. What is a data center? We'll talk about it. Okay. Let's understand this. Okay. All right. So you are going to have such private places, and such private places where we are hosting our infrastructure like servers, databases is called as a data center. Each and every company that you work, you take a banking company, you take a finance company, you take a e-commerce company, you take a retail company, you take a healthcare company. Everyone, for them, data is very much important. And to store data, they need to have some database or storage devices which are going to be enclosed on the top of some data center, right? So this is very much important, and this is a very private place. Okay. And if you're talking about this should have some operating system, right? Okay. So again, in the space of operating system, we are having multiple varieties. And one of the most famous, one of the known type is Windows. Another type is Linux. Okay. So if I ask you which is the most famous operating system, 95+% of the times people say Windows. But I would say 99% of the enterprise infrastructure is running on the top of Linux. So if you ask me what is the prerequisite to learn cloud and DevOps, the answer is Linux. If you don't know Linux, if you want to enroll training anywhere in cloud or DevOps, if someone is trying to teach you what is cloud, what is DevOps, what is Git, what is Kubernetes, that means you are not writing or learning in a correct approach. The answer is you should know Linux. If you don't know Linux, please do not proceed. You don't know, you don't understand anything. Okay, because 99% of the corporate infrastructure, when I say corporate infrastructure, like servers, switches, networking devices, everything is Linux based. Okay, that means if you want to start your journey on cloud and DevOps, Linux is must, because 99, as I repeat, 99% of the enterprise infrastructure is on the top of Linux. So Windows, you operate everything by using options that you see on the screen. You create a file, click a button. You delete a file, click a button, right? It's a GUI, graphics, options. But Linux is not like that. It is just CLI. CLI stands for command line operating system. You want to create a file, use a command. You want to delete a file, use a command. You need to restart a server, use a command. You want to see the list of processes that are running in the system, use a command. Okay, just like how Windows is an operating system, at this point of time, try to understand that Linux is an operating system, which is a CLI. Almost all the servers that you use in the enterprise are Linux based, because Linux is open source. When I say Linux is open source, you don't have to pay anyone if you want to use. Again, there are a lot of if else conditions, which I'm going to talk very soon. But if you want to start your career in cloud and DevOps, or if you ask me what is the prerequisites to start this course, I would say Linux. If you don't know Linux, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to teach you. And the training starts from zero to advanced. We're going to start every topic from absolute zero to really, really advanced to the project oriented extent. So Linux is first. Linux is must. And if you don't know Linux, we are going to help you. And this is the first thing that we are going to start with. Okay. So that's about it. Okay. And when you're, since we talk about applications are of two types. I want to talk about it. One type of application is client-based application, and another is web-based application. Again, as I mentioned, we don't just learn what is cloud, what is dev. We'll understand why we need this first, and then we'll try to apply wherever it is needed. And another is web-based application. Okay, so client-based application is like VLC player. For example, if you want to play a movie on your computer, you need to have a player. So you'll install VLC player, right? For example, if you want to if you want to open a Word document, you need to install MS Office or the Word document, right? These kind of applications are called as a client-based applications. Applications that are designed to be operated only if they are installed on the top of the client. Here, client is nothing but your computer. Okay, that means every computer every computer, you are going to access the application. That means if you want to use an application, you need to install that on the top of the computer. And this is a conventional mode, which I'm least interested about. And right now, the trend in the industry is not client-based application, web-based application. Okay, that means from the browser, from the click of a browser, okay, from the click of a browser, you should be in a position to do anything. Okay, from the browser, from the prompt of a browser, you should be able to access the application and you should be able to do it. For example, your mobile applications like your Swiggy, Zomato, Paytm, or the web-based applications, the same application, Flipkart, Zomato, can also be accessed from browser. Are you installing anything on your browser? No. These kind of applications are called as web-based applications. And the applications that you are installing are not going to be installed on your computer. Okay, this is something you need to be very clear. For example, if this is your computer and you are not going to install anything on the top of the computer, just all the expectation is your computer should have a browser. And from the browser, if you want to buy anything, all you do is you connect to this flipkart.com or whatever the web application that you want to connect, and that's going to do rest of the job. And these type of applications are called as web-based applications, and the entire business is around that. And this is what we are interested about. And what are the applications that you see? Flipkart, google.com, right? And Swiggy, Zomato, Paytm, all of them are web-based applications. You can access every application just from the click of a browser without installing anything. That's called web application, and that's what every company is uh, heading towards. And that's where even our training is based on a web-based application. We are going to implement an e-commerce based application where we are going to do everything from the scratch. Just like when you join any project, if a customer gives you a requirement, how are you going to contribute? How are you going to talk to the developers? And how are you going to develop the things from the scratch is something we're going to talk. And it's not like we're going to learn what is Git, what is Kubernetes. First, we'll understand the business. We'll understand the business, we'll implement that business, and then we'll implement the technology on the top of it. That's where, and that's how you can feel that you're already a working professional who is already working on cloud and DevOps. If you follow the strategy that next 3 months, it's like you are doing some internship, or it's like you're already a working professional on working on the similar technology. Okay, that's how we designed the course. This course never gives you a feel, we are learning. It gives you a feel that you're already working. That's how we have curated the entire course. That also means we are going to maintain very clear-cut documentation, and you're ever alone. Okay, you should be very clear on it. Okay, and before I proceed, I just want to give one small story about my profile. just to keep things interesting. I started my career in 2011. I mean, I completed my graduation in 2011, and then in 2012, I joined a company, one of the big company. I started my career as a Linux engineer. Okay, I used to do Linux automation engineer. Okay, I was given training as a part of the placement in Linux platform. Okay, and I used to work as a Linux automation engineer, where I used to work with the system admins or the platform team to understand what is the manual process that they're doing, and I used to write some scripts to automate the process. Okay, I was onboarded to one of the very big banking project from through one of the consulting firm, and I need to observe what is the manual process that they are doing, and then I need to automate the whole process, and things are fine. And after 6 months, I was fired from the project. Okay, fired or offboarded from the project. Okay, so offboarded is a word that we use when you're no longer working on the project. Okay, in the consulting firm, the banking client that I joined, within 6 months, I was offboarded from the project, saying that we are no longer proceeding on the project. Why? The project was decommissioned. Okay, and I was the project where I joined, I was just 6 months old, but the project is in the phase of development from last 6 months. It was one of the big the project is enhancing banking digital experience. It's in 2011. Okay. Okay, that means if someone wants to deposit a money, or if someone wish to transfer the money from one account to another account, or if someone wants to write a demand draft DD, what we usually do, we used to go to the bank and we need to get the check from anyone who offers the forms, check or DD or bank deposit form, and you need to fill the form, and then you need to do all the manual tasks through pen and paper, and then your halfway will be gone. And the banking client wants to enhance the digital experience. Okay, by all they want is they want to enhance the digital experience, and they want to get rid of the pen and paper process. Okay, it's a very big thing, but I just enhanced in a very smaller approach. And the requirement was given in 2008, 2009, 2010, 2010. Still the project is still in the development. After 4.5 years, the banking clients decided they don't want to proceed on the project anymore. It's not just because we are not showing progress. It's because whatever the progress or whatever the requirement that was given initially, and the project that is being developed changed. That means the project requirement is changed. Since the project requirement is changed, they don't want to invest any single penny more. Okay, that means they have invested 3.5 months of 3.5 years of time on the development, which is going to be very costly. And halfway through, after the completion of 50%, the project was decommissioned. And it's gonna take 3 more years of time to complete the project, which will take millions of dollars for them to digitalize. But they decided to stop. Why? Because the requirement of the project was changed. What do you mean by requirement of the project change? And why the hell it took 3 years of time for you to develop? Right? That should be the question. The question is, it all starts with SDLC, software development lifecycle. Okay, it all starts with software development lifecycle. You need to understand this. Why software development cycle? Why do we need to do that? Let's try to understand. Okay, now even before I go and talk about what is software development, how it is achieved, and all these things, I just want to take a pause and I want to talk how companies like Facebook, Google, Microsoft are delivering things at scale. Okay, earlier till 2004, 2005, 2006, the number of companies that are coming up are less, but you take from 2006, 2008, 2009, the number of companies that are coming up are really, really high. You take you would have heard in news, like engineering student from second year or third year has written an application that is sold to the United States, or that is being sold to UK, and UK-based company has bought this application, and US-based company has bought this application. A lot of people are starting companies, and starting a company is not a capital-intensive task anymore. Earlier, it used to be. Okay, why? Why it was like that? Okay, let's try to understand this from the perspective of why it's needed. Okay, so as I mentioned, applications are of two types: client-based and server based. So if you want to host your application like flipkart.com, amazon.com, google.com, you need to have a data center, right? A data center is nothing but a place where you are hosting your infrastructure. So for example, and this is something which is a costly affair, okay? You want to start a company like flipkart.com, keep on using flipkart.com rather Flipkart, okay? Just to make sure that you know well, okay? If you want to start a company and if you want to run your application round the clock, obviously you need to have data center. Okay, data center is a place where you are going to host your company's infrastructure. When I say company's infrastructure, it's not just Flipkart. You take any company, any service-based company, you will have your VPN to connect to the company network. Okay, you want to apply leaves in the company, you will have an application. You want to get a promotion. Okay, they'll send you an email saying that okay, you are being promoted and your designation is going to be updated in the HRMS portal. Okay, for example, you are applying for a vacation. Okay, something has to be calculated. You are having 15 leaves and you are applying for 10 leaves, 5 more leaves were left, right? That means there are some applications which are doing all these things behind the hoods. And to run these applications, you need to have some server. A server, what is a server? Server is nothing but a very big computer that is designed to host, that is designed to be accessible by more than one person at a time. Okay, so you're going to have some lot of servers. One second, my system was hung. All right. Again, as I mentioned, when I say server, I mostly mean it as a Linux. Okay, and it can be Windows-based servers or Mac-based servers as well. But I'm taking things in general, assuming that they're Linux-based. Okay, it can be anything. Not just these servers, you'll also have some networking devices. Okay, because if you wanna connect to your company's network, you will have a VPN, right? So you'll also have some networking devices. We need to understand the business first, then only you can make sense on where are we using, why we need to learn. Okay, so it should always be why, how, then only you feel more interest to learn. Okay, so networking devices, a lot of things will be there, right? And if you want to run your application, you need to have, you need to run them, you need to make sure these run round the clock. For the demonstration purpose, I have given 4, but it will be thousands of servers, thousands of servers. Okay, and you cannot say that, hey, I'm having a power outage, the servers are going to be down for 15 minutes. No, it's not going to work like that. Have you ever seen Flipkart down? Have you ever seen Amazon.com down? Have you ever seen any website that is doing business is down? No. Okay, because it's all repetition. Companies like Flipkart, Google, for them, every second matters a lot. Every second. Do you know if YouTube is down for 5 minutes, how much ad revenue they lose? Do you know how much Google is going to lose if the search engine is down for a while? So maintaining a data center is not an easy job. So here are the considerations that you need to make data center requirements. I'm going towards Y cloud, okay? Data center requirements. Okay, if you wanna maintain a data center, there are some standards that you need to follow, and there are some strategies that you need to follow, and there are some etiquettes that you need to follow in order to have a successful data center. Okay, and first thing is it should be a private place with better security. That means no one should have access apart from whom you wish. Okay, so it's not like a random person can enter into a data center and pull the cables. No, it's not going to work. Okay, it's not going to work like that. You need to have some better security. Okay, around the clock. When I say around the clock, 24/7 security should be there. Okay, that means you need to have some staff which is going to monitor that. Okay, fine. And you need to invest money for this hardware. Okay, invest money in procuring hardware. Okay, what do you mean by procuring the hardware? And the servers that we are talking are not some just random machines, right? You need to buy from the reputed providers. and you need to pay insurance, and you also need to pay for the extended warranty. Usually hardware providers will provide 1 year warranty, 2 years warranty. For better security and for better warranty, for better hardware warranty, people generally buy extended warranty. That means you need to invest a lot of money to buy the hardware. And next thing, whatever the devices that you use, the computers or the mobiles, they emit heat. When they emit heat, when you're continuously using, they emit heat. Do you think that all the software companies offer air conditioned space for you just for your comfort? Not really, because all the computers that we operate or we work with 8 hours or 10 hours are going to emit a lot of heat. And if there is no air conditioning system, or if there is no system that is cooling down the machine wear and tear will be reduced. That means the machine capacity, okay, or the machine performance will be diminished to a very greater extent, and the performance won't be good. And if the device performance is not good, you won't be you performing good. And that's the reason they offer you air conditioning. And similarly, even these data centers, uh, you will have thousands of servers which is going to emit a lot of heat. And if the heat of the machine is high, the performance of the machine would be less. So you need to cool down the machine. So in idle case, the temperature should be less than 90 degrees. Less than 19 degrees centigrade, not Fahrenheit. And that's the reason you see any engineers who are working in the data center, they always wear big jacket and big gloves when they're entering. Okay, so this is how a data center. Google is one of the first company to operate the data centers at scale, because they are having Google Maps, Gmail, okay, Google Search, which is one of the product which will be used by billions of users. They know well about how to operate the data center. So let me show you how a data center looks like. Okay, typically this is how a data center looks like, because you will have thousands of servers where they have to be connected with each other. And that's the reason you'll see a lot of cables here if you see. Okay, and a good data center should have better cabling. Okay, the cabling, that means the networking team coming up, the servers, the hardware you need to procure, networking, you need to establish a connection. And if you see at the top, copy this image. And if you see on the top also, there is some railing of wires. Can you see this? And you can also see the lighting, and you can also see the air conditioning system here. Okay, let me show you a few more things. And if you see, this is Google's Google's data center for quantum computing. And you can also see another Google data center with cooling, a ground cooling system. This is the best ground cooling. Okay, from the bottom, wherever you see, there are also air conditioning system that releases the cold air that is going to cool down the system. Okay, so around the clock you need to maintain the air conditioning. Okay, if you cannot maintain round the clock air conditioning, your system's performance is going to be impacted. So it is a must. Okay, it is a must to have it is a must to have the it is must to have the temperature. And second thing, since these air conditioning system and security, everything are maintained by you, and the servers also need to be operated around the clock, you need to have 24/7 electricity. And achieving 100% is practically possible, and that's the reason you'll maintain dual electricity. That means you'll contact two providers in the state who is going to offer electricity from two different companies. Just because in case if one provider fails with electricity, and your server should not be failed, automatically the network should be switched, the electricity should be switched with the active electricity. That means I teach classes. I have government offered electricity, and at the same time I also have my power backup, a battery inverter to immediately switch in case of the power failure. And network, you never see flipkart.com down, you never see azure.com down, right? Okay, so you also need to make sure the internet that is connected to this would be round the clock available. Again, I teach classes, and that's the reason I also maintain two networks. I have I have two networks, and one of the network is a Geo network I'll use, and take I'll also take a Airtel network just to make sure in case if Geo is down, Airtel will be there. If Airtel is down, Geo will be there. So 24/7 network should be there, or okay, or dual network provider. That means whether you use or not, you're paying two times, right? And you need to have network team, network plus storage, okay, plus hardware team. Okay. So within the data center, you need to establish this railing. That means you need to establish connection between the servers, right? You need to have a networking team. And to rail these physical servers, you need to have a hardware team, right? And to establish storage, to store the data, you also need to have the storage engineers, right? That means you need to have a lot of team. And at the same time, and at the same time, you also need to invest a lot of money. It's a capital intensive stack. And for all the tasks to happen, you need to have money. Okay, capital intensive task. And third thing is hardware refresh. And you should also be ready whenever you are investing something. You should also have this in mind. How many days this hardware is going to be supported? For example, whenever Apple releases any new iPhone, like iPhone 15 or iPhone 14, what do they say? We are extending our support for iPhone 10, and with iPhone 15 in launch, we are ending the support for iPhone 8. We are ending the support for iPhone 8, or we are ending the support for iPhone 7. What does that mean? Anyone can write. What if someone says we are not supporting this product anymore? Anyone who is interested? Anyone? Anyone? What do you mean by if a product is not out of support, or if the provider is not supporting this product anymore? Anyone interested to answer? Anyone?
They are not going to do any enhancement on that. Just like a Windows 98, they are not doing anything. They stop the securities and things. So whatever who have the version, they will not. The provider like Microsoft not support responsible for that. Like
Okay. Then what do you mean by they are not? Okay, you're very close. For example, if
hmm,
you're using iPhone 7 and if Apple has stopped supporting iPhone 7, that means if you lose the button, or if you
yeah,
lose the screen, or if the battery is diminished, you don't get the product. You don't get the spare parts of the product. And if
yeah,
you're using iPhone 7, for example, if there are any security issues in the operating system that you're running, they release some patches. They release some updates, right? You no longer get such updates. That means you are prone to the security issues, right? So that means the whenever any company stops supporting the product, the very first thing that you need to do is you need to upgrade the product from iPhone 8 to iPhone 10, or iPhone 10 to iPhone 11, or iPhone 11 to iPhone 12, right? Similarly, that means what you're doing is hardware refresh. You're replacing the old phone with a new phone. That means you are investing. Similarly, in the servers also, there is a concept called as hardware refresh. That means every server that you buy from HP or IBM or from any vendor, they support the product only for some 6 years or 8 years. And after that, they say we are no longer supporting the product. That means if the motherboard of the server is failed, or if the hard disk of the server fails, or if any CPU of the server fails, you don't get the part. And these are not the silly machines, right? And these are something which are running customer workloads or the application workloads. These are very much important because they play a very important role in generating the revenue of the company. That means these guys, the company needs to invest money in the procurement of the hardware. Again, they need to replace the old hardware. They need to add the new hardware, and they need to establish the network. It's a very high capital intensive task. Okay, this is one important point why starting a company till 2004-5 was a very tough job, because you need to invest money to test the application. You need to have your server, and to have the server, you need to host somewhere. And if you host somewhere, you should have money, which is a very capital intensive thing, right? And also, even if you invest, and even if you invest, okay, even after investing, are we utilizing the infrastructure efficiently? That is another important question. So let's also talk about it. For example, again, you take the same Flipkart.com application. Since everyone knows this Flipkart.com, I'm extensively using this. Okay. I'm not a big fan of any of it, but just to take some name, we are taking it. Okay, let's assume these are in the data center. There are thousands of servers. Assume these are different servers. Okay. Let's assume just for the demo purpose. We're having thousands of such servers. Okay, so like this, you're having thousands of servers. Okay, and do you really think that utilize 100% of all the servers all the time? Guys, do we utilize all the 100% of all the servers at a time? The answer is big no. Okay, for example, during the peak business hours or whenever you are having sale like big billion day sale or whenever you are having any any Republic Day sale or any sale, during that time people try to buy things that are available in the sale, right? Rest of the times they don't need these many servers. For example, if you assume during the regular business hours, this is the average load on your application. That means you are utilizing only 25%. Okay, you're just utilizing 25%, and rest of the servers or the applications, you utilize them only whenever there is a peak load. That means you are going to turn on the server, or again, you don't do manually. Okay, you do some automation and to do that only during some peak business hours, you are going to utilize the rest of the application. Let's assume, okay, only 30% apps are utilized, rest 70% are utilized only during business, peak business. Okay, so it's going to be used only during the peak business. Now you are paying 100 rupees, but you're just utilizing 30% out of it, right? Agree? And that's where all of the story of cloud has. Okay, so Amazon, okay, Amazon is something which Amazon.com, this is one of the first e-commerce website which was highly recognized. Okay, I mean there are a lot of e-commerce websites. Amazon.com in United States, okay, it's selling books from 2000, from 1993, 1994 itself. They are in not 1994, 1995 or 1996. They are into the space of e-commerce, selling things over internet. Okay, they are into this space from a very long time. So they were very successful in 2000 and 2001-ish. They realized that they want to expand more, keeping the internet expansion and the keeping the internet adoption by the regular audience in mind. And they felt that the internet business is going to extend very huge. And what the thought was, okay, let's try to buy more hardware. Okay, they are expecting that this application is going to, I mean, that their infrastructure is going to grow or their applications are going to operate very high. And what they did was they want to make sure they need to keep all the hardware in buffer. For example, if the infrastructure, if the application utilization is more, it's not like you go now and buy things and then rail everything, right? That's not how it's going to work. You are going to have a forecast, and with the vision of the forecast, and you are going to build the infrastructure. And with that vision, they realized that only 25% of the infrastructure is utilized, and rest of the 75% of the infrastructure like servers were lying idle. That means they are paying 75% for nothing. Okay, so that's where the concept of cloud came into picture. Pay as you go. Okay, so the classic example of it is you get a job, you got a job after your bachelor's, or you got a job, you're working in Delhi, and you got a job opportunity in Bangalore. Now you want to work. There are two options. Okay, once after you switch to Bangalore as a part of your job, there are two things that you have to do. There is first thing, you need to report to the office, and the second thing, because you got a job there, however you're gonna stay in Bangalore for 2 to 3 years, you need to have a flat, you need to have a home, right? You need to have a home. There are two options. You can buy the entire flat in an apartment, which is gonna cost you 70 to 80 lakhs, which is a very capital intensive thing. And if you have money, if you're a rich guy, you can do that. 70 lakh, 80 lakh, which is a capital intensive thing. You don't have the money, you can search in the nobroker.com or a magicbricks.com that you're looking for a 1 bed, 1 bath or 2 bed, 1 bath. And then you spoke to the landlord, and then you say that I'm gonna stay here for 1 year, or I'm gonna stay here for 2 years, or I'm gonna stay here for 3 years. And you're gonna make a lease saying that I would like to stay here for X many years. And you're gonna pay 15,000 or 20,000 based on the size and based on the commitment and based on the value of the place. You're gonna pay 15 to 20,000, right? On month per month. And that model is called as a pay as you go. That means you are paying for using the owner flat for your purpose. Okay, cloud also does the same thing. And AWS.com, okay, so they felt that the excessive infrastructure was lying idle. They want to rent this. When I say rent, they are not really rent. Okay, they say that they did some certification saying that, okay, whatever the data that is being used in the customer space, okay, in the servers that we are renting, we make sure that we are not going to touch that. We make sure we cannot access without the customer permission. There are some data compliance standards that Amazon followed, and then they started offering infrastructure as a service. Again, I'm starting a new word. Okay, so rather than you buying the infrastructure, I am going to offer the infrastructure as a service. Okay, that's where the whole game of cloud came up into the picture. Okay, so cloud is nothing but, okay, a lot of people will think cloud means there are no servers. Serverless means there is no servers. No, servers will be there. You are not owning it. That's it. Okay, so in the space of okay, in the game of cloud, the big player is AWS. There is no doubt in that, and it is the first player. Okay, Amazon is been in this business from 2004, 2006. Okay, Amazon has the first market advantage, and later Azure came, Azure or Google Cloud, they both came. Okay, and they both started offering their services actually from 2014, I think. Okay, 2014 or 15. Okay, that means AWS is in the market of cloud monopoly alone for almost 10 years. Okay, so and that's only the reason why AWS has high market advantage. And also the services that are offered by Amazon are very good, and the customer support that is offered by Amazon is very good. And you say, I can openly say that 75% of the market is AWS, and rest of the 25% is both. Okay, and if you are someone who is very much passionate about transforming your career to cloud, so learn something that has huge opportunities. And in the space of opportunities, AWS has phenomenal opportunities because 75% of the customers are on AWS. And it's not a zero checksum game. That means we are only having 100 customers. If Azure has to gain market, if it is 30, then it will become 70. No, there is no such thing. Okay, so only just 5% of the customers have moved to the cloud. You have still say only 90 to 95% of the customers who are still in the phase of transitioning. Okay, so whenever they reaches the hardware refresh, or whenever the hardware is going out of support, they will make a call saying that let's try to move these applications to cloud because we don't have to invest money. Rather than you investing money in buying the hardware and doing all this, let that headache someone take. You focus on developing your business. That's the main agenda behind cloud. And if I ask you why AWS has huge market share in compared to Google Cloud and Azure Cloud, is the first market advantage. Okay, and I can give you the simple example. The moment I say toothpaste, what is the first brand that comes up in your mind? Anyone? Anyone? What is the
Colgate.
first? Sorry?
Colgate.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone? If I say Colgate,
Dabur.
okay. But majorly, if I say toothpaste, what is the first brand that flashes in your mind?
Even people calling Pepsodent also Colgate in India usually.
Yes. So 90% of the times you get the mind. Okay, if you're a 90s kid or 80s kid, definitely the first thing that comes in your mind is Colgate. Why? Because they are the first who introduced the concept of toothpaste. For a very long time there is no there is no competitor for that. Okay, and if you see in old people like 70 80, they'll ask you, hey, bring me Colgate. They don't say bring toothpaste. There is a value of the brand, and that's where AWS has a first customer advantage. Okay, first market advantage. Whoever comes first in the market, they'll always have the first customer advantage, because they were in this space for almost monopoly for 10 years. There is no competition for it. And that's also the reason why AWS has most customers. And at the same time, the reason why customers stay long with AWS is because of the phenomenal customer support. I don't say others don't provide, but when compared to others, AWS have very good customer support. Okay, so always enterprise companies prefer to buy or subscribe products which offers better customer support. Okay, so yeah, to answer that question, we all need to learn AWS cloud, because that's the first customer advantage and it's having huge market space. Okay, all right. And again, since we are talking about cloud, we should also know one point. Okay, you used a word called as infrastructure as a service. What is that? Okay, when someone sells a product, they have some business models to sell the product. Okay, so again in the cloud, you attend any interview or when you join any conference or whenever you're attending any conference call with your manager or any town hall meetings, they use this word business models. Okay, this is the business model that we are following. So how are they going to sell the product? Okay, how the business is going to make money, right? They need to make a decision on how are they going to invest and how are they going to harvest the money out of the product. Similarly, in the cloud, how cloud is being sold, okay, is being strategically devised into three forms. And one of the first type is infrastructure as a service. Okay, don't just learn things. Okay, try to understand the background so you love the product. Okay, infrastructure as a service, infrastructure as service, and it's also called as IaaS. And second thing is platform as a service, and it's also referred as a PaaS. The next thing is a software as a service. Again, I would like to repeat, in case if you guys feel that you guys are not talking, you guys are not able to talk, that's because I have not given you the mute option. Since it is a demo session, I request you to complete and then you can speak. I'm gonna give you unmute option to talk. But going forward, sessions are going to be interactive because we teach, you speak, you teach, we speak. It goes in an interactive mode. But since in the demo session, I would like to deliver and demonstrate the content, and then I can give you an opportunity. We can speak almost 30 to 40 minutes after that session. Okay, you also have a hand raise option where you can raise your hand to speak. Okay, and you also have a chat option where you can talk to me. Okay, and I'm reading all of your messages. So yeah, we are good there. Okay, so switching back to the topic. What is this infrastructure as a service? What is this platform as a service? And what is this software as a service? It's all shared responsibility model. When I'm offering a service on cloud, how much I am responsible as a cloud provider, how much as a customer you are responsible. That means if you are consuming a product from AWS cloud to create a server, and if you lose the data or if your data is being stolen by someone, how Amazon is responsible versus how you are responsible. Okay, what are the services that you are responsible? Okay, let's talk about it. Okay, so let's take some nice image. See, for example, you take on-prem. Okay, when you say on-prem, on-prem is nothing but the data center, the conventional data center where you're responsible for everything end to end. This copy, this image is not good. Yes, this looks good. Okay, so the first box is the first box is on-prem. So on-prem is nothing but the data center. Data center is also referred as on-prem, on-premises. Okay, so it's also referred as on-prem. That means your data center. In this space, okay, I'm talking about this. What all you are responsible for? Okay, if you are talking about this, what you are responsible. If you are running your applications on the top of your data center where you are buying your own server, you are responsible for the underlying hardware. You are responsible for the networking. You are responsible for the data storage or the storage devices. And you are responsible for the virtualization. You are responsible for the operating system. That means operating system you need to install, you need to patch. Okay, you are responsible for running the middleware softwares, and you are responsible for organizing the data, and you are responsible for running the application. So here in this 100% you are responsible for managing starting from application to the hardware, right? Here, apart from application where your core functionalities, you need to hire a lot of engineers like network engineer, storage engineer, hardware engineer, virtualization engineer, Linux team, middleware team, okay, data compliance team, application team, just to run the applications. Where in the on-prem model, right? Obviously, it's going to be a capital intensive thing, but your responsibility is more. While when you're talking about the infrastructure as a service, the cloud provider like Amazon is going, you want to run an application, the cloud provider is going to give you the underlying infrastructure. Okay, that includes the network, storage, virtualization, and the other components. All you do is you just make sure your application, your operating system is something what you want. Okay, so here these three are something Amazon manages for you. Okay, like server, storage, networking, and you are responsible for application, data, runtime, and making sure the operating system is up to the date. So here 40%, 45% Amazon is taking care, and on the top of it, you are responsible for organizing your data, application, middleware, and the operating system. So here in this case, if you are having a good and cloud, you are having a cloud and DevOps engineer, if you are having a good engineers, okay, so this is going to be little inexpensive. Okay, but when you're talking about platform as a service, okay, so for example here, okay, you want to run some Apache application, or you want to run some Python application, or you want to run some gaming application, okay, on the top of Java. All you need to do in the platform as a service is, in the platform as a service, the cloud provider provides you the platform. Okay, all you need to do is you just need to say, I want to run a Java based application. That's it. Networking, storage, underlying applications, Java installation, everything the cloud provider is going to take care. All you need to do is you just need to focus on the application development and just run it. You really don't have to care or worry about platform. Everything will be taken care by the development team. Majority of the startups, okay, they hire developers. Okay, they don't focus more on the infrastructure management. Instead, they take the Java, Python, Go platform as a services. They just focus on developing the application, and they'll run the application on the top of the platform. You don't consider, you don't care about the platform. Okay, so here Amazon's responsibility is more and your responsibility is less. Okay, this is one point you need to be remembering. Okay, so next, software as a service. Software as a service. In this model, okay, everything the provider is going to take care. Okay, for example, earlier if you want to install, if you want to use MS Office like MS Word, Excel, all these things, are you installing on your computer earlier? Yes. Now are you installing? No. The software is installed on the top of the provider, and then they're creating a username and password, and you're just connecting to it, right? Software as a service. For example, you take PUBG game. Okay, everyone play PUBG, right? So earlier, if you want to play a network game where you sitting at your home, your friend sitting at his home, and another friend sitting at his home, if you all want to talk, play a game together, you all need to have the gaming console that's connected to your internet, right? That means here the console and the gaming devices you are buying, the TV device is also yours. And similarly, your friends also buy the console and they connect to the similar game, right? That means here the devices, application, software, everything is yours. But the PUBG, you see PUBG. On the mobile device, you will just install the application. That application is not running completely on your mobile phone. Just 0.5% will run on your mobile. Rest of the 99.5% will be running on the somewhere else. That means the gaming device, the game software, the game GPUs, everything are running somewhere. That software is offered to you as a service, right? Similarly, Office 365, Outlook. Earlier, we used to install Outlook on your computer. You used to double click it and then it used to get. Now, no. Outlook web application. That means Outlook is also offered as a service. All the softwares that are offering to you as a service, here, everything Amazon, everything the service provider takes care. All you do is you just need to run your data. That's it. For example, you're running database as a service. You want to run database. Either you can create your database and maintain, or you can take the service from providers like Atlas, okay, saying that I want a database, they offer you. So here, based on the shared responsibility model, billing will be high. Just by looking at this, which one would be costly, which one is less? Anyone? This is 1, 2. Forget about this. Okay, 1. However, we are not interested in 1, 2, 3. Which one is costly? 1, 2, or 3? You can type the answer in the chat box.
One.
Which one would be costly?
1.
No, no, okay. 1 would be costly.
Yes, 1 will be the costly
Mhm.
because we need to buy the hardwares here.
No, no, you're not managing networking, storage, hardware, everything is been.
But we need to hire the developers to manage the things.
Okay, think again. How many of you say? Obviously, 90% of the people say 3 is the most costly. Why? Because here the cloud provider is managing everything. You are just enjoying the luxury of running the software or enjoying the software. But here it is less costly when compared to 3, because in the platform as a service, they are offering the entire platform. You are just running your application and developing it, right? But here in the infrastructure as a service, Amazon cloud provider is taking some responsibility and you are taking some responsibility. So obviously the infrastructure as a service is a little inexpensive. Okay. So, and that's the reason always companies prefer to hire some highly experienced and expertise engineers with infrastructure as a service. That means engineers like us to consume the services. Okay. In this training, what all are we going to do? We are going to use both 1 and 2. 3 probably we are going to use. Okay. We are going to use services from cloud offering, both infrastructure as a service, platform as a service as well. Okay. Now, I'll ask you again, there is a huge buzz in the industry about cloud and DevOps jobs, and why these many jobs are there in the industry. Okay. Why? Why these many jobs are coming up? I want to make a very clear point. Are this job market is really high? Why huge DevOps and cloud jobs are there in the market? And what is the big hype? What is the reason for that? Okay, I want to give some interesting aspect and why companies are behind it. How long this buzz is going to be is also something I want to talk extensively. Okay, let's assume this is a company, this is a company's network, and within the company's network, you'll have a data center. Let's assume. Okay, you already know by this time, you know what is a data center. Data center is a place where you're going to host all the company's infrastructure, right? Okay, you are having a data center. Perfect. And what you do on the top of the data center, you are going to run the servers, right? Agree? You are going to run a servers. Perfect. And then these servers will have some storage, right? You need to save some storage. You need to have some storage. So you're gonna store something, and for that you need to have some storage devices. And again, these needs to be tied with each other. So obviously you need to have some networking connected with each other. So that means let's try to put these things together. Let's wire them together. Servers. In the data center, you'll have servers, and you'll also have storage because you need to save the data of the organization in the most compliant possible approach. And then network, all of them needs to be wired together. So you need to have a networking team with policy saying that who should access what, others can access what others cannot access, what employees can access, what HR can access. There are some policies that needs to be designed. So definitely you need to have a network. And once you have all of it, you're gonna run applications on the top of it. Obviously, the reason why we are doing all of it is to run the applications. We are gonna run applications on the top of it. Obviously, the main agenda behind all of it is to run the application. Okay, you're gonna run applications. And again, if you're having this much applications and these much things are critical, definitely you need to have someone who monitors the entire setup, right? So definitely there will be some team called as a NOC team, network operations and command center team, who is going to monitor everything. Okay, that means these many teams are involved. So data center, typically this will be managed by, okay, operations team. We call it the ops team. Okay. So this data center is owned and managed by ops team. Carefully observe. Okay. And then servers are going to be managed by, okay, since majority of the servers are Linux, I'll talk it as a Linux administration or Linux engineer team or Linux servers team. And storage, definitely you'll have some storage team, STG admin team. These are different teams. Okay, so just to run the application, these many teams in a minimalistic approach. Okay, and again you need to have a network team. And then to run the applications, definitely you need to hire some middleware team to run different set of applications. Okay, and then you'll also have NOC team. NOC team is referred as an ops team. Okay, so this data center team is also called as a hands and eyes support. Or you can call it as a monitoring team, because someone has to manually do all of it, right? Now, with the introduction of cloud, and if your company decides to move, towards cloud, you don't need a data center. That means you don't need operations team. You're not gonna manage servers, everything of your own. So you didn't need completely a Linux team. You're not gonna manage or you're not gonna utilize the storage on-prem. That means you're going to utilize the storage from someone. So you don't need highly skilled professionals on storage to set up and configure. And this network, you're not going to define anything, because you're going to use cloud, and cloud gives you an opportunity to do everything of your own. And middleware team, you don't really need a middleware application guy. And monitoring team also you really don't need, because most of the applications would be deployed on cloud, which is going to offer you such solutions. That also means these many jobs can be done by a single team called as a cloud DevOps team. So earlier, okay, again, I didn't term the coin DevOps completely yet. I'm just teaching you and I'm just driving you towards cloud. I didn't come there DevOps yet. Let's talk about it. So with the cloud and DevOps introduction, you don't need ops, okay? And you don't need the administration team, Linux team, just to manage, which can be done. Okay, 1 second. Okay. And you don't need a storage team, okay? Because we are not going to deal anything on storage directly, and we don't need the networking team, highly efficient network team. Earlier, you might be needing 10 network engineers. You might just need one highly professional network engineer. Now, application team, definitely applications are needed, but you don't need someone who just knows the application. And again, this NOC team can also be completely diminished. Okay, obviously you need to have a NOC team, but you don't need to have NOC setup. Okay, you can replace straight away 6 teams together if you just learn cloud and DevOps. And earlier, if you just learn cloud, you can get a job, because majority of the job description says we are looking for a cloud engineer. If you just learn DevOps, because DevOps implementations used to be done on the top of on-prem, you don't need cloud. And that's the reason till 2019, 2021, cloud used to be learning as a separate concept and DevOps used to be learned as a separate concept. But you take any job description, they say we are looking for a cloud engineer with DevOps skill set. We are looking for a AWS cloud engineer with Docker, Kubernetes, Terraform skill set. We are looking for a site reliability engineer with AWS cloud, Docker, Jenkins skill set. So if you want to secure a job in the space of cloud, you need to learn both. And this training is designed exactly the same way. Okay, now you would have understood why are we stressing more on both. All right. Is it clear, guys? Okay, and that's the reason why there are huge number of jobs are there in the market. Again, that's you should have some motivation behind why you are learning, because if you know that, then things are going to be very, 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 very interesting. And again, as I promised, I'm going to talk about software development lifecycle, because it all boils down to applications. When you say application, you need to run the application. If you want to run the application, obviously someone has to develop the application. If they have to develop the application, they need to follow some strategy. Okay, in every organization, the success or failure of any company product purely depends on the strategy that they have taken. Similarly, if you are going to invest billions, millions of amount money in developing an application that is going to generate billions of revenue down the line, obviously you need to have very better strategy. Better minds should be there behind the strategy, because the strategy is going to rail towards devising the application. And for that, the development strategy should be there, and that strategy is called as a software development lifecycle. What to do first, what to do next, how to deliver the product, how to fix the issues. Okay, what is the strategy and what is the life cycle of the product? Okay, and if you are coming from the engineering background, the first semester of any engineering graduate is going to be, if you are coming from computer science, they'll talk about software development lifecycle. Okay, that's very important, and how you devise the product is very, very important. So in that space, waterfall model, again, in software development lifecycle, there are a lot of procedures, okay, a lot of methodologies. Okay, so software development process is just a methodology. In that methodology, there are a lot of forms, there are a lot of types. Okay, just like if you want to construct a 3-story building where you just have a land, a plot, what you do first, what you just clear the plot, whatever the garbage or whatever the trash that is there, you'll try to eliminate all the garbage and you'll try to level the plot. That is the step number one. And once it is done, you will hire some good civil engineer or a good engineer who has extensive experience in constructing buildings. And what he does, he'll take measurements of the site or the plot. And then what he do, he'll try to perform the soil test to understand what is the strength offered on the soil. For example, if customer wants to construct 5-story building or 4-story building, whether that soil or whether the place is going to accommodate that much, those many floors or not. That means you need to have a soil test. And once the soil test is done, and if it matches the customer requirement where he want to construct a 3-story building, then he'll ask the customer, the engineer will ask the customer, sir, what is the requirement? Okay, you said that how many floors, three floors you want, what type? Okay, so where is the garage that you are planning, where is the parking place that you are carrying out? Okay, so how many of the floors you are going to stay, and how many of them you are going to rent out, and which floor you are gonna stay, right? And what are the aspects or what are the requirements in the floor where you are looking? Okay, whether your building should be facing east, or how many of the rooms should be facing east, and if it is a northeast block, whether the facing should be north or east. So basically the engineer will gather all the requirement, right? He'll gather all the requirement. And once the gathering of the requirement is completed, what he do? The earthing work will start, right? Saying that they'll mark things, saying that where the pillar should come, and they'll start the foundation work, and then they'll construct the first floor, keeping all the pillars in mind, and second floor and third floor, and finally they'll construct the walls, and then they'll paint it, they do all the finishing work, and they'll deliver it, right? That's how a regular construction process works. Basically, after you construct a floor number 1 or floor number 2, okay, you cannot say that I'm expecting ground floor to be garage. The requirement is changed. So that's not possible. Once the requirement gathering and once the implementation is started, you cannot change the plan. If you want a garage, and if the government says that if the house is not having a garage, then we are not going to approve it, then you need to trash the entire project, or you need to rechange the plan, right? So similarly, in the software development lifecycle, also there are a lot of ways where a project can successfully be achieved, and the project can successfully cannot also be achieved. So the type of software development lifecycle is very important. And in this software development lifecycle, one of the most famous, you take all the big softwares like Windows, all these things were developed by using the waterfall methodology. Okay, software development lifecycle is a process. Okay, and in that, waterfall is one of the methodology. Okay, and agile is another methodology. Okay, so waterfall model is the old style of methodology where we are gonna take the requirement from the customer, just like if a bank who wants to digitalize the entire experience, they go to the IT development firm or a IT consultation firm and they say all the requirement. Okay, and the requirement gathering will take 2 to 3 months of time. Okay, requirement is not like they will give in a pen and paper and will take a note. No, it goes through multiple iterations and all the requirements will be documented by the documentation team. And after the requirement is completed, they'll freeze the requirement and then they go to the design part. Okay, the chief architects or the senior architects in the organization who are assigned to the project will start designing. In order to design the product, okay, in order to fulfill the requirement, what is the design patterns that we need to follow, or what is the design that we are expecting? And they'll give 2 to 3 designs, which is a very intensified task, and then they'll demonstrate it to the customer. So after demonstrating their customer, and if they like, then they'll assign the product to the senior engineer, senior architect who sit and code. Okay, they will cut the project into multiple pieces and multiple teams will be assigned, and each and every team is going to do certain job to implement the project. And once the project is finally achieved, testing team is going to test the product, and then maintenance, if there is any maintenance, we'll do the maintenance, and then we'll hand over the project, right? Right here, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and step 5. And each and every stage is taking 6 months to 1 year of time. Just to complete the project, it's gonna take 5 years of time or 4 years of time, right? What if after 1.5, 2 years of time, what if uh, after gathering the requirement, after starting designing, and after we started implementation, which is gonna take 5 years of time, after 2.5 years of development, and if the requirement is no longer needed because of some regulations, because of some compliance, okay, the requirement is not valid. So do you really think that they're going to invest 2.5 more years? No. Okay. And that is a major disadvantage is waterfall model. And once the requirement gathering is completed, it's just like a glass of water. Okay, once you pour a glass of water from a top, you cannot, it always one directional, right? It cannot go back, right? Once the requirement analysis is completed, once the development is started, you can never go back. That means even if someone says that I want to add a feature or I want to remove the feature, it's not possible in the waterfall methodology. That is a major drawback with waterfall model. If you ask me, every software product can be developed by using waterfall, the answer is no. Few products need waterfall methodology, okay, which only needs. But if you take any of the latest developments that are happening in the industry, everything goes by agile. What is this agile? Okay, what is this agile? So agile is a very smart thing. Okay, so you take any company, they follow the agile methodology. Okay, what is this agile methodology? So rather than developing the entire product together in a shot, rather we take a small feature of the product and we'll take 2 weeks or 3 weeks of time and we'll design the product, we'll deliver the product, and we'll deploy it to the server and we'll demonstrate it to the customer. And if the customer likes, we'll go to the feature 2. We'll add it on the top of feature 2, and then feature 3, and then feature 4, and then feature 5. At any point of time, if any of the feature is not needed, they'll trash it, or if any of the feature is can be done better, they'll redo it. Okay, this way things are going to work in a better way. Okay, so the classic example of it is you take WhatsApp. Okay, you take WhatsApp. Okay, for example, you take WhatsApp. Okay, so initially when WhatsApp was introduced, it is introduced with a concept of texting over internet. Okay, from one WhatsApp application installed on a mobile phone over internet to the other person who has installed application, WhatsApp application, right? That is one thing. That means texting over internet. Okay, so WhatsApp first developed the product of texting, and then it was a hit model and people liked it. So what they did, they added one more feature called as smileys. Okay, where you can wink, where you can show hi, hi, you can wave your hand, you can show victory symbol. They have introduced the smileys, and it was a big fit. And what they did, they have introduced one more feature called as groups. Rather than you and me just talking, why can't we a group of friends? Why can't we talk together in a group, right? And then the group size initially was 32. Okay, there are a lot of people who are having friends who are greater than 32. They want to have some better groups. They don't want to lose the customers. What they did, they have added a feature called as groups with 252 members, right? Right, and then and then they also introduced voice calling feature, right? That means one person, one WhatsApp user can talk to other WhatsApp user over the WhatsApp call, right? And then they introduce the group conference call. That means not just one-on-one person, group of people can also talk. I think the limitation is 5. Similarly, next they have introduced one-on-one video call. And then they introduce group video call. Okay, so likewise, now recently they also added a feature called as UPI. If you are based out of India, you can also make a payment from UPI, right? So when WhatsApp is introduced, it doesn't have all the features. Okay, they follow some agile methodology where they have taken a feature of the entire product, they delivered the product, and then they like the product, and then they added this another feature, and then add that feature. And in between, they have also introduced another feature called as, if you want to use WhatsApp, you need to pay for WhatsApp. I think in 2013 or 14, pay for WhatsApp. You need to pay 150 rupees per year. This was a big failure. They rolled out this feature, they cut the feature back, and then they said again it's free. Right? Agree? So likewise, if you don't like any feature, you'll always go back and rework on the feature. Okay, and that's the reason in the agile methodology, which is okay. So first, whatever the feature of the product that we want to develop, we'll plan the product, and then we'll define what needs to be done. Goals, we'll set the goals, we'll define the goals. We'll design the product, we'll test the product, and we'll deploy the product. Again, you take another feature, do the same job. Rather than developing one product entirely together at a shot, we take multiple iterations and develop the product. Okay, so in our training also, we follow the agile methodology. Okay, so yeah, and that's the reason a lot of products are coming very quick. Okay, and even you take any active development project, they go by agile methodology only. And the beauty of the agile methodology is it goes by constructive feedback loop. You develop a feature, if the team didn't like or if the customer didn't like, you go and redevelop that one more time. Okay, you will have a frequent retrospective calls saying that what can be done better. Okay, the sprint is nothing but a 2 weeks or 3 weeks of period depending on the organization. So it varies from organization to organization. Sprint is nothing but a 2 weeks or 3 weeks of time. You take a feature, you will develop it in a given time, and then you'll get back to the team. That period is called as a sprint, and that's the reason it is an infinite symbol. Okay, so you deliver the product, you demonstrate it to the customer liked it, you go to the second feature. If customer didn't like it, go back and rework on the feature. And the major advantage with Agile is there is no conventional teams like a team lead or a project lead. Okay, so here everyone is a responsible person. Earlier, if you get any issue, we say that application guy say go and talk to the platform team, and platform team says platform looks good, you go and talk to the middleware team, and middleware team says that things are looking good, you go and check with the QA team. So the blame game used to happen in the conventional teams. If an issue comes up, just to start accepting who has to work on this issue, the blame game used to be high in the conventional teams. But in the agile methodology, any agile team will be less than 8 members team. Okay, so where you will have 1 or 2 developers, 1 or 2 QAs, 1 or 2 middleware person. So everyone who is working in the team, you take all flavors. It's not like all 8 developers. Okay, you have 5 developers, 1 QA, 1 DevOps, 1 cloud guy. So if any issue comes up, rather than blaming, hey, this is development team, this is QA team, we all work together. Okay, here everyone is an independent leader, and that's the reason you don't see the role of a team lead right now. You see tech lead. Okay, so every organization follows Agile. Even in our training, we speak more and more about Agile because that's a highly used thing. Okay, Manoj, you have told so far cloud, how business works, what is the strategy and all. Where this DevOps comes from? And if you're thinking that DevOps means I need to do the development and operations job, no. DevOps is not development and operations. No. The answer is DevOps is development related operations. That means earlier development team used to develop the product and they used to give it to the operations to deploy and test. The operations team just used to do what developers used to say, but they don't know what is the product, how it works, nothing. And everyone used to work like a silos. But because of the nature of working as a silos, independent teams, development team don't know how operations are doing. Operations don't know what development is doing. Development cannot suggest on operations and operations cannot suggest on DevOps. So with the DevOps methodology implementation approach, Since the beginning of the product where the development team comes up, these DevOps guys are actively involved in the development related operations. Hey, you are developing this application. I think this needs to be deployed in this size of application. Hey, you are using this technology, but in our platform, this service is not approved. So please don't use the technology. Okay. So you're developing the product. Okay. To do the product, we need to do the testing. We need to have the benchmarking, and we need to automate the process, because every time you're doing this process manually, it's costing you a lot of time. We are going to automate the process, and these DevOps team closely work with the devs and developers and QAs to make sure whatever the process that is being organized or being followed conventionally, these guys are going to automate. Okay, so that's where DevOps play a very critical role. And usually in majority of the companies wherever I have worked, DevOps will be given highest importance. Okay, and a lot of companies say this is a DevOps support role or DevOps development role or DevOps full stack. There are no such things. Companies are just changing the roles. You learn everything, whatever the role fits, you go. Okay, don't go and learn just I want to do become a DevOps support so that I can just click the buttons, I'll get the salary. No, come out of that. Okay, DevOps engineer should know everything end to end. Then only you can apply 100% of the jobs that you see in the industry. All right. So DevOps is not development operations. It's development related operations. You should be very clear on it point. All right. That's where the DevOps comes from. Okay. What is the role of a DevOps engineer? Okay. It's very, very simple. In organizations, whenever you are hosting any applications, there are multiple varieties of environments. Production environment is nothing but the revenue generating servers or the applications wherever they are hosted, or customer accessing machines are production machines. And before you test or deploy anything, it needs to be qualified on QA, quality environment. And before even you deploy into the QA environment, you need to make sure it is qualified on INT environment. And even before that, it has to be qualified on the development environment. Okay, a product needs to be tested lots of places just to make sure we deliver the right product to the customers. And where the role of DevOps comes from? So DevOps ensures you ship the code from one environment to the higher environment with a zero downtime. Whatever the tools that you use, whatever the automation tools you use, people give you the highest privilege. You are going to make sure that things are going to be automated, and at the same time, there won't be any downtime. Okay, what am I talking about downtime? Okay, downtime is very, very important whenever you're selling any product. Okay, so you say the uptime of my product is 99.9%. That means in a month, your product cannot be lesser, your product can be a maximum of 43 minutes downtime. For example, if someone says that my product is 99.9% uptime, 4 nines or 3 nines, that's how in the management people call. Per month, your product can be a maximum of 4 minutes downtime. If someone says my product is 99.999, 5 nines available, that means your product will be a maximum of 26 seconds down per month. Okay, so every time 1 9 increases, the complexity of the infrastructure and the cost of the infrastructure will increase. Okay, so for example, what is the availability of AWS Aurora RTS? See what they're saying. Aurora is one of the database service that are offered on AWS, just for demonstration, because whatever we are learning is very much close to what is being there in the industry. Aurora has up to 99.99% availability. That means per month they can guarantee a maximum of 4 minutes downtime. Okay, that means now you can understand how you need to design the infrastructure. And this is from my previous batch. Okay, my recently completed batch. Yesterday only this batch is completed. I'm gonna show you some very interesting things that we did there. Uh, 1 second. So gaining insights out of the product, whatever the product that you're building, is very, very important. You should know what is the traffic of your product. Okay. You should know what is the latency of the product. Okay. You should know, okay, how many errors are coming. You should know how many requests are there. You should know how many payments are happening. So we are going to build very nice dashboards by extracting the logs from the application, which is going to give a better insights to the company. If you see, we are going the response time, what is the traffic, how many errors are there, all these things we are going to build using the open source tool in our training. Okay, this is some nice graphs that we have generated by extracting the logs. Okay, all of these things we are gonna do together in the training starting from the scratch. Okay, so we're gonna follow what Google says. Okay, so yeah, that's one important aspect I want to talk. Now you would have also heard site reliability engineering. Is this training contains site reliability engineering? What is this? Site reliability engineering is also a role which you usually see if the project is at scale or if the projects are big. So DevOps engineers typically look till the non-prod environment, the DevOps, okay, and site reliability engineers handle the production environments only. Okay, just to isolate the things, people will do that. But conventionally, site reliability engineers focus more on the infrastructure, production environments, and at the same time, they focus more on creating the observability dashboards. So we have created these observability dashboards, right? Similarly, these kind of dashboards, SREs will be doing. But this training is not just AWS or DevOps or SRE. We learn everything so that this gives you an opportunity to apply for any job role. Okay. But again, if you are applying for big companies, there the roles would be different. DevOps is a separate role, SRE is a separate role. But SRE is something focuses more on dashboards, observability, and dealing only with the production environment. So DevOps deal the same thing, but the non-prod environment. That's it. Okay. So that's it. But are we learning the market needs? Let me go to another diagram I'm gonna show you. So what are we learning in this training? Let me try to walk you through. Okay, as I mentioned, we take a problem-oriented approach in a progressive approach by taking the use cases and implementing. As I mentioned, if you want to become a cloud or DevOps engineer, the first thing that should know is Linux. We're gonna learn in 1 week. And then with the knowledge that we have, we're gonna do 2 projects. One is an e-commerce based project and then it is a university project. 2 projects we are gonna deal, not 1 project. As I mentioned, we are not just going to learn cloud and DevOps and then implement technology. No, just like how you do in a real-time projects when you join any company. First, we'll implement the project. First, we need to have a project. We are gonna do deal projects. One is very big project with 5 databases, and then one small project on AWS cloud. And then we'll take all the problems out of it, and then we'll automate the entire project by using bash scripting. It's very needed. And coding is different, scripting is different. We are gonna deal coding. And then we'll automate the project. We see some challenges. We'll resolve those challenges by using Ansible. What is an Ansible? We'll talk about it. And majority of the things, we don't do anything manually. We use some frameworks to run. Okay, I want to run a job on Sunday. I want to run a job Saturday and send the report to job on Sunday. That should send a job to my manager. All these things will be done by Jenkins. Okay, we also call it as a CI/CD of application. We also do through that. And then uh, we do all this to generate software in the binary format, and then we'll save it on the top of Nexus. And again, you never ever create anything manually on cloud. Remember this point. Okay, we use Terraform. What if I say you won't get a job in cloud if you don't know Terraform? Yes. Without Terraform, you don't see any job description. Terraform is a very serious tool. Our training is 135 hours. Out of 130 hours, 50 hours we'll focus only on Terraform. Whatever we do everything to Terraform. It's a production grade training in Terraform. Okay, and we do monitoring through Prometheus, Grafana, and Git is a source of truth. Everything that you do will reside on the top of Git. What is Git? If you don't know, we'll teach that as well. No worries on it. Grafana is a dashboard visualizer. And we also have ELK, Elastic Logstash and Kibana, where the logs that are offered by 10, 15 servers will be residing on the top of a centralized environment. And containers. Without containers, you see most of the jobs incomplete. Docker, container, Helm, SonarQube, all of these we are going to cover in the training. And it's a 135 3 months training program. Okay. Are we covering the market needs? Yes. In the demo, I say a lot of things why you have to believe me. Okay. So this is a roadmap, which is one of the, it's not just for DevOps. You can also see for Java or any technology. It's one of the most trusted. Okay. So if you want to become a cloud and DevOps engineer, what you need to know. Okay. If you want to become a DevOps engineer, what you need to know. Okay. So these guys are saying you need to know one operating system. And then in that Ubuntu, SUSE Linux or Red Hat. So purple is mandatory. We're going to learn Red Hat. And then Out of these 4, in the front-end servers, we'll learn Nginx and Tomcat Apache, all 4. Reverse proxy, we are going to deal. Firewall, we are going to deal. And bash scripting, in the automation space, we need to know bash scripting. And then in the version control system, we should know Git. And in the centralized GitHub management, we are going to learn GitHub. And in the space of containers, we learn Docker. And in the space of cloud, we learn AWS. And in the infrastructure as a code, we deal with Terraform. Okay, and then in the configuration management space, we'll learn Ansible. And then in the secret management, instead of Vault, we'll go through AWS Secret Manager. Okay, and in the application monitoring, we'll go with Elastic Logstash Management and Log Management. Okay, and then in the space of container orchestration, we'll go with Kubernetes. Okay, that means whatever these tools you see here, and if you compare it with here, 98% we are close to what the market needs are. You take any job description, okay, you see most of the tools that we covered would be there. Okay, that is something I would like to talk. And are we covering the market needs? Yes. Who can pursue the course? Any interested person who is interested can learn. Or if you just completed your college and if you're in search of a job, you can. And if you're a working professional with 2 to 3 years of experience, you who want to transition your career, you can. And if you complete the training, you can demonstrate an experience of 3 to 7 years of experience and expertise if you complete this training. That much hands-on approach it is. Okay. Any graduate with a valid degree, any person with valid interest, any person who is ready to learn, any working professional who is ready to transform his career, we are here to help you. Okay. So ensure you are ready to learn. I'm ready to teach. And what are the services that we offer as a part of the training? Okay. So let me show you that. What all we offer as a part of the training. Everyday session will be shared after the training. As I mentioned, training is completely real time and project oriented. It will be done on the top of 2 projects. Each and every session will also be recorded and shared with you. And each and every topic notes will be shared. So for example, in our batch 56, we have recently taught Kubernetes. So let me talk about Kubernetes. Each and every topic will be dealt and shared in a very detailed notes to you. So everyone, you can see the notes here itself. Okay, so likewise, every topic we provide the notes. Okay, and everyday notes, whatever we are learning, we'll also provide a running note. Okay, and whatever the discussion that we make will done on a Miro board. You will be given access. And post the completion of the training, will also be given custom resumes to market your profile. And by the end of the training, you'll contribute 30 plus repositories on GitHub. Whenever you're going for any interview, you can also showcase the work that you have done. And we share 50 plus audio recordings of various students, DevOps students of our students. And we'll give you, and we'll also share 1500 plus interview questions. All of them would be done. And so Manu, if this training is this much real time, how about the lab related things? Every day after the session timings are going to be Monday to Saturday, morning 6 to 7:30. After 7:30 to 8, every day 30 minutes lab session will be there for any sort of lab questions. And every one of you will be onboarded to the channel where you can reach me for any sort of questions, concerns, queries. And if you are not able to fix, we'll also connect over a Zoom. And even a lot of people even use this opportunity to resolve their work related queries. Okay, so what is the prerequisite for this course? The only prerequisite for the course is your interest and readiness to learn. That's it. Okay, so anyone who is already working in IT, any engineer who recently graduated, any person who is already working who want to transform this career, or anyone who is looking for a job change can make this course. Okay, and again, tomorrow the sessions are going to start by 6 o'clock, 6 to 7:30 India time. And if you're joining from States, 7:30 to 7:30 to 9 p.m. Eastern. Again, session link remains the same. There won't be any changes in the link till further notice, and these timings are going to remain the same. And that's for today. And each and every session will also be recorded, as I mentioned. If you want to see the session recording, you will receive the message. If you didn't receive the message, please ensure you check the same link that you have used. Whatever the link that you have used, okay, there at the bottom, you should be able to see this. Okay, you click this, you should be able to see the recording. Okay, just wait for 1.5 hours and try to come and check this page. You should be able to see the session recording. If you don't get the message from me, please check the session recording, and that's it. If you don't get the message from me, please check with the coordinator. Okay, the meeting link that you have joined will have the name. Just reach them. There will also be a contact number. You can directly reach them. If not, you can also come here and check the same meeting link which you have used today to join. Should be able to see this in the same page after some time. Okay, and that's for today. And we're gonna meet tomorrow same time. We're gonna meet tomorrow at 6 to 7:30. When we say 6, sessions will start exactly by 6. Please join on time and meeting link remains the same. I hope this session is very interesting to you. And I'm gonna stop the recording and I'm gonna take up the questions from now. If you have any questions, feel free to post your questions and the floor is all yours. Okay, so yeah, it's yours. Any questions, guys? I'm stopping the recording to take up the questions. Okay, thank you.